Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how I made these quick Halloween postcards. I'm starting out with a 12 by 12 piece of paper and all of the scraps that I have left over from all the projects that I worked on this month. My goal was to use up a bunch of the materials that I had left over. So I'm pulling out all of my stickers as well, my washi tape, and even some rub-ons. And the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of play around with placement on the page here. And I'm going to be using some, you can use Mod Podge, but I'm using the Martha Stewart decoupage glue that I have in the antique finish. The reason I'm using this is because my finished product will already have that vintage, worn, grungy look anyway. And so because I don't do a ton of projects that have that, I'm using up this product because it works. This isn't a product that I use all the time, so I'm saving up my clear Mod Podge for a project that doesn't have that grungy or antique vibe. So I am decoupaging some napkins onto this paper, and then I'm just going to start placing different scraps and pieces here and there until I really kind of like what I see. The composition is nice kind of overall. Now this will get cut up, so I do kind of keep that in mind. It will be cut down the middle at 6 inches, and then it will be cut 3 times from there. So my finished project, I'll have six 6x4 postcards. So when I am laying things down, I am keeping in mind where it will be cut. But at the same time, I am putting things kind of right on the edge of where one postcard ends and another begins, because I also do like the idea of an image starting on one and ending on another. So you'll see me place things so that that happens with a few of these different cards. I'm going to turn this over to some music for a little bit, and then I'll come back once it's time to cut these up and talk about the things that I add. Now, once I have everything basically where I'd like it to go, I'm going to let the whole thing dry. And it didn't really take long with this particular type of glue, but I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to, again, cut it down the middle at 6 inches, and then I'm going to cut it horizontally at 4 inches twice. So I'll have 6 total. Now, on the other side of this paper, you can see where I've um, you know, gotten glue on it, or it doesn't look really nice. So what I am going to do is actually back each of these with some brown thin chipboard. I don't want it to be too thick because I don't want it to have any problems going through the mail or require any extra postage. But I also wanted a really nice neutral surface on the back. Now, once everything is cut up and kind of glued together, I am going to distress these further. So I'm going to take some black ink and just an ink dauber and kind of go around the edges, distress the edges, and then you'll see me even kind of push the card into the ink to get it to kind of absorb through the edges. And, I just did this really quickly. I didn't get too precious with it or plan too much of it out. I just wanted some distressed edges. Now, after I got everything distressed the way that I liked, I wanted to add some foiling. I have some rose gold foiling sheets, and I actually learned this technique, I want to say it was like a year, maybe 2 years ago now, from Pop Fizz Paper. You can do foiling on your projects even if you don't have a laminator or a Mink machine, and you just need to use a glue that dries fairly tacky. So in this case, I'm using the Tombow glue here, but I've also used I think it's Sakura. They have I think it's called the Quickie Glue Pen, which I found really good results with as well. But I wanted to use the Tombow here because I can get a lot of product out of it at one time. And I wanted to kind of very haphazardly put it on here. I didn't want it to look like it was placed on there on purpose. And I almost wanted it to look kind of like this old wallpaper look, where you've got some of it peeling off, or even places where some of it is kind of showing from underneath. So that's kind of the look I was going for here. So I just put down a bunch of glue on each one of these and let it dry for a little bit until it was really tacky, and then I'm going over it with a foil sheet and I'm burnishing it on with the handle of my scissors. And as you see, it looks different on every single card, and each one has just a little bit of foiling on it. Now, my very last step was to take all the little bits and pieces of my stickers that I had left over from this month and use them as focal pieces on each of the cards. So I didn't film this part, but I did sit down and kind of take my time and try and figure out a good combination of, colors and what the composition of each card would look like. And I'm actually going to put some close-ups here at the end so you can see the final product and see how I used some of those pieces. This is a really great project when you have a bunch of scraps left over, because even though you have all these bits and pieces that aren't necessarily cohesive, you can kind of just collage them together, and on the final product it looks like it's all been done on purpose. So it's easy, it's really fun too. It's a very therapeutic as well. So I recommend that you try out this project with any scraps that you have left over. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the final video tomorrow. Happy Halloween!